Good evening. Good evening. Good evening again, man. I just want to just welcome you guys back to the Conversation 9-8, and I really appreciate you guys. Appreciate you rocking with your boy, and excited about another week to come on and have a very intriguing topic. Won't be before you long, but I really feel like this topic is one that should be discussed, and I think it impacts a lot of us. And I know a lot of people deal with this, but I think this is a good topic, one that can be helpful and a meaningful discussion. But again, man, I just thank you guys so much for rocking with your boy, and I really appreciate you more than what you know. Um, uh, and as I share this, make sure if you tune in if you want to participate. This is more than open to you. Look forward to the dialogue um, um, and the discussion, and just let me know where you're tuning in from. But again, thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. But we're gonna get right on with it, man. Get right on into the topic of tonight, because tonight's topic is a very fitting one, and it's your mental health is important, but your mental health is not an excuse. And one of the reasons why I wanted to discuss that and bring that up is because many of times, we have raised awareness a lot with the importance of mental health. And I'm a big, huge advocate for it. Even dedicated my part of my studies in college to psychology, to understand the why, to understand how we operate, to understand the importance of understanding where we come in at mentally, and that plays a major role. And we've raised awareness so much in our country over the years, in our society over the years, which is very, very, very important. But the reality is, too, on the other side, is not an excuse to not do the work to get the help that you need, or not do the work to heal the relationships that have been hurt or damaged, to not do the work. It is not an excuse, but it is important. And I wanted to bring that up. That's what I really wanted to bring up, to talk about that, the importance of it, because many of us, if we sit down and we look at it, you know, we've all have things, and I mean, and just from a personal standpoint, personally, we all been through stuff. If we take inventory, we all been through things, and we all have things that we have to deal with from a mental perspective. We all have things that we have to overcome, right? But I just wanted to say that just because I may have experienced some things, I may have experienced some trauma, or even found out, what, or even been diagnosed with something. Just because I've been diagnosed with it, that's not an excuse for me not to pursue to become better. That's not an excuse for me not to work towards my healing. That's not an excuse for me not to hold myself accountable to for my actions, right? And behaviors, actions and behaviors, and that's why, as I say, it's so important. That's why I say it is not. Mental health is important, but it's not an excuse. And so many people, we like to use that as an excuse, instead of doing the right things and changing our behaviors, or being accountable for our behaviors. And that right there is what I really wanted to speak towards. That's what I really wanted to speak about, because so much we've become accustomed to doing that. And if you think about it, we have become accustomed to using our mental health, or a status of our mental, or the state of our mental health, as an excuse for our behavior, and as an attempt to not be held accountable for our actions. And that right there is what we need to really deal with and address, because you still are accountable for your actions, regardless if it's from a mental health perspective. And I know we have extreme cases, and I'm not talking about extreme cases, but so many times we champion things because we want to use those diagnoses as an excuse on our behavior and with the people that we're connected to. And that is not fair to those people. That's not fair to yourself either. We got to get to a place to where we say, I'm gonna be accountable for it, and I can properly address my mental state. I can properly address it, but still be accountable for my actions. I can do that. You can do that, right? But don't be like a lot of those people who simply attempt to use it as an excuse. And I know it's not a popular thing, but that's what a lot of people do. And that's just what it is. But that is what it is. But It's not an excuse. You know, my I can be because I'm diagnosed with something and I have a mental health issue. That's not an excuse not to seek help. You know, I personally been through depression, dealt with post traumatic stress disorder, dealt with a lot of these things, and the importance of it was at the time I didn't really know it, and until I went and sought help, and then it helped me get to a space where I was able to address it. I was able to understand what I was going through. And by me gaining that understanding, right, that even though I got an understanding, even though I got a diagnosis, even though I got treatment, that still did not absolve me from me being accountable. And that didn't make an excuse for me being accountable for my actions. Right. And that is the important aspect of it. And that's why I say, yes, it is important, but it's not an excuse because I still was accountable for the decisions that I made, even under the state that I was. And that's why I continue to talk about it. Why it's so important. Because a lot of times we like to say, like, you know, we just want to make an excuse, you know. We like to use mental health as a reason for us to just treat people wrong. Oh, well, you know, oh, y'all know I'm bipolar. You know, no, that's I mean, no, you just are you're just unstable in your behavior and your choices, right? And a lot of times we throw that out there because we just don't want to be held accountable. And we want to use it as an excuse. And that's why I say mental health is important, but it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse for you to have irrational behavior or erratic behavior, right? It is very good to go figure out what is going on, but just because you figure out what is going on, that is not an excuse for you continue to go down the same path that you went. Because the reality is it's not fair to the people around you, and it is not fair to people that got to interact with you on a day-to-day basis, all simply because you want to use that as an excuse and not be held accountable. You have to do the work. You have to do that work to become better and deal with and address and put those parameters in place for yourself. It's you. It's not anybody else. And I know it can be hard. I know it can be frustrating. And a lot of times when we're dealing with that, right? This is why it's important. Reason why I'm so big and talk about mental health is important is a lot of times you talk about mental health. I'm talking about getting to understanding what is going on with you, because many of us we become so comfortable with the chaos or the trauma or trying to manage our trauma where we struggle with trying to really figure out what is going on with us as an individual, right? To the point to where we begin to identify by that, or we become, you know, that's just who I am. No, that's not who you are. You know, you are in survival mode, or you're in a place to where you're in a mental place where you're just trying to survive. You're in a space where you're trying to just get to the next day. And that's understandable, but it still is not an excuse for you to not do the work to try to get to a better space instead of just living day to day under that stress, under that uncertainty, right? It is not an excuse. We have to work towards being better. We have to work towards doing better. We have to work towards identifying what is going on with us, right? But this is the other thing too, right? We have a lot of people who simply act as if they deny their mental health, or they deny the state of their mental health because they are afraid of what may come from it. You know, oh, that didn't bother me. No, everybody else around you can see like how that bothered you. Everybody else around you can see how maybe your past or your childhood, how they impacted you. In yourself, you probably convince yourself that, hey, I'm good and it doesn't bother me. But other people that have to deal with you and be around you, yeah, they know that's bothering you. That's why I say it's so important for us to really, you know, that's why I said mental health is important to figure out, okay, let me figure out what is going on with me. Let me figure out what it is bothering me, so that now I can do the work or find a plan or develop a plan to work towards making me better, so that I can become a better person, so that I can heal and so that I can be made whole. Because being made whole is where you truly find your peace. And that's why I love it. And throughout the Bible, multiple times we talk about Jesus asked the question, will you be made whole? Right. And many of us, you know, we like the excuse of to use something as our behavior, and that's not fair to the people around us. So you know, I told you I wasn't gonna be before you long today, but I appreciate you guys tuning in. But remember, your mental health is important, but your mental health is not an excuse. All right, you guys have a great and blessed day. God bless.